I have been around different internet circles watching videos, and they have been talking about entertainment or modern entertainment. And one of the many issues that comes up is diversity. Diversity or inclusion is sometimes often blamed for why a show or a game failed. But this is very misleading, and there is a little more to the story why something failed. Because I am bad at titling my videos, what I'll be talking about in today's video is diversity, as well as identity politics, inclusion, and other related topics in entertainment. Before I get into things, I need to give two disclaimers. One, I am not the four-letter word the internet uses or the anti-version of it. I'm a normal and readable person. Two, because I am talking about diversity, I do not want people to get the wrong idea about me. I have no problem with people or dislike anyone because of their race, gender, or sexuality. If I do not like a person, it's because a person is annoying and a-hole trying to force or bully others into their way of thinking, use their skin color or whatever the case as an excuse to do or allow questionable actions or behavior. It had nothing to do with race, gender, sexuality, or any of that other stuff. And the same goes for characters in a video game, cartoon, and so on. Now, on with the rest of the video. Diversity is nothing new when it comes to entertainment. Black characters, if they are superheroes or in video games, are nothing new. Same with female characters or female protagonists. Gay characters are a bit different. Back in the day, if a character was gay in an anime, the info had to be altered in the web.
Oh, great. Why do you think they've entered the contest?
They're girls and cousins, too.
Also, back in the day, gay characters were a stereotype of what people think was a gay person, mostly when it comes to boys, men, or just males. Diversity had been here for a good amount of time. It was seen in shows and video games when I was growing up, and people did not have a problem with it then. People have been talking about diversity and things relating to it more than ever now. Half of it is talked about in a bad way. But why? A very small group had a problem with diversity and diverse characters. They hate it and do not want it in their entertainment, which is unfortunate. I and many others do not mind diversity and have no problem with seeing it. However, people want it to be done right. People want characters to be more than their race or whatever the case, or for their race or whatever the case to not be what made a person or character primarily special. There are different forms and types of diversity. It can mean different things to different people. When most people think of diversity, they think about race, gender, ethnic background, or sexuality. But there's also diversity of opinion, education, life experience, and upbringing. Diversity is not just about race, gender, or sexuality. A room full of black men who have very different opinions and viewpoints is diverse. It not racially diverse, but it diverse in opinion and thinking. A room full of men of different races, but none of them have very extremely different opinion. It diverged. It racially diverged, but it not diverged in opinion and thinking. The problem is not diversity. The problem is not black character, gay character, female character, or whatever. The real issue here is who behind the show or the video game, and other details like the character, storytelling, writing, and the big one, who is the audience or who is the target audience. If a person or showrunner is one of those types that talk about identity politics, does the whole virtual dignity thing, or is a part of the performative activism crowd and want to push stuff hard in the show they're making or a part of, did it half of the problem. These types of people champion things like diversity and inclusion, so they put it in shows and video games, but they have the habit of giving people some of the most ugly, unappealing, and uninteresting characters, and it does not help that the characters they make are also black, gay, female, or whatever the case. This is where I think diversity is talked about in a bad way. The other half of the problem is the whole modern audience thing. A very, very, very small demographic that does not matter. A group who are easily offended. Catering to 5% of the population is a bad idea, and even less of that 5% really care about video games or whatever the case. When normal or reasonable people discover the show or whatever media it aimed for the type of group or it made by the type, this result in a show or video game most people do not want to watch or play. Also, because the quality of the video game or show is not great. When something from these types of people or something aimed at the modern audience ends up failing, it's always our fault, never their fault. They blame people or take issue with opinion, falsely calling people bigots, and other forms of tomfoolery or nonsense. And I know the internet had a word for that. The only thing I'm going to say is this. I know that it is a thing. It's hard to ignore. There is something to worry about, and it's a headache for most people. The disgusting, annoying, and questionable behavior they do are why nobody respects them or even want to listen to them. I do not like to use the word, but I know these people are out there. What should we call a particular fool of politics or that mindset? Anyway, I feel normal and reasonable people from different races or backgrounds who just want good entertainment are going to be rubbed the wrong way. As for how to write black characters, gay characters, or whatever the case is something I or other people cannot give you a perfect or definitive answer. Let's take gay people for example. I think most gay people are normal everyday people who do not play into identity politics or gay stereotypes. A gay person and a straight person can be the same person. The only difference is their sexuality. There are some people in real life who make their race, sexuality, the stereotypes, and more their whole personality, which is annoying. but not everyone does that. If you really want to make a good gay character, you should not make being gay, their sexuality, or the whole LGBT identity the entire character personality. I'm working on a passion project or an IP. A small part of it had diversity in mind in terms of the character I want to make. I made characters who are great or an actual person who happen to be of a certain race or whatever the case. There is more to a character than their race, sexuality, or whatever the case. Yet there is diversity and representation in my passion project. However, the storytelling and quality are higher on my list than the diversity and representation. I do not want to fill diversity quotas. I do not want to pander to the modern audience, and I'm not even going to try to make identity politics people happy. Although, I think a lot more people need to realize diversity in storytelling is not a critical component of writing a story. It's simply a little bonus. Good character writing and making them visually appealing is always the number one priority. Diversity and diverse characters is not the problem. It's some of the people behind modern entertainment. The problem is not black, gay, female, or whatever the case type character. Most people do not have a problem with diversity in entertainment. They just do not want it from the identity politic crowd, the virtual signaling crowd, or other similar types of people. Whenever these types of people are involved or force their way into a piece of media, it's only going to spell a nightmare for the show, the comic, the game, or whatever the case. And these people give us some of the most unappealing and uninteresting characters. While questionable journalists writing articles and targeting the modern audience crowd is another issue, it's not the main issue. Sadly, you cannot make everyone happy when it comes to entertainment or in life for that matter. What matters most when it comes to entertainment is making a great piece of media, telling great stories, and actually entertaining people. Also, do not rate, gender, or sexuality swap an already made or known character. Make a new character.